Something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Well, it sure is. I'm glad to have you here live in the shadow of Detroit, kicking off another brand new day here on the Steve Gruber Show, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom. We do it every single day. Makes me ask, who do you want in your foxhole? Can you work harder? Can you do better? Of course you can. It's Free for All Friday. We're burning daylight. Let's get to the top three. Here they are. Number one. I have updates on Charlie Kirk's assassin and the killer that attacked an ICE facility in New York, both far-left radicals, and today we're learning a lot more about both. We'll have the latest. Number two, Pete Hegseth has called in hundreds of U.S. military leaders from around the world for a very unusual, unprecedented gathering. And you have to ask yourself, are we on the verge of World War III? What is happening? And number three, I told you yesterday I wanted your thoughts now that we're more than 2 weeks away from Charlie Kirk's public assassination in Utah. What do you believe? Did Tyler Robinson act alone with his grandfather's World War I Mauser 30-06, or were there others who helped take out the leading voice of young conservatives in America? It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Of course, we've got breaking news now, too. As James Comey has been indicted for lying to Congress because he lied about leaking confidential, classified information out the side door to the New York Times. He lied to Congress about it. The left going absolutely bananas. Oh, Trump has targeted his political enemies. This is terrible. This never happens in a real democracy. Really? Because I remember something about them raiding Mar-a-Lago. I remember something about these trumped-up charges and hundreds of millions in civil cases charging Donald Trump with all sorts of nonsense, even though there was no evidence. None to speak of. So now you're going to scream about James Comey, who, by the way, wasn't indicted by Donald Trump. He was indicted by what they call a grand jury. That's how the system works. You understand that, right? So, okay, it's open to interpretation today. 877-310-9966 is the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Where does the violence come from? Where does it all come from? Nice wanted poster, by the way. Anthony, well done. Show that again. I like that. I just noticed that. Well done. You know, the people here do great work. That's Anthony doing great work. Wanted. James Comey. There he is. All right. I want you to hear this. The rhetoric from far-left radicals, the cause of political violence, says Donald Trump. Here he is.
Who do you hold responsible for the uptick in left-wing violence in the country?
Radical left rhetoric. The radical left is causing the problem. They're out of control. They're saying things, and they're really dumb people. I mean, I look at Crockett. I look at some of these people. They're very low IQ people, actually. But the radical left is causing this problem, not the right, the radical left. And it's going to get worse, and ultimately it's going to go back on them. I mean, bad things happen when they play these games. And I'll give you a little clue. The right is a lot tougher than the left. But the right's not doing this. They're not doing it, and they better not get them energized, because it won't be good for the left. And I don't want to see that happen either. I'm the president of all the people. But the radical left is causing this. Radical left Democrats are causing this problem, and it gets worse. It gets worse.
All right.
It'll be a point.
You get the idea, right? You get the idea. He doesn't like the radical left. He doesn't like the fact that Charlie Kirk was murdered 2.5 weeks ago. Look, he was shot. Steve Scalise was shot. Ronald Reagan was shot. I mean, you go back for the majority of my lifetime, the violence has all originated in one area, shooting up little kids at mass. These are not conservatives. These are not Republicans. Figure it out. All right. Now, having said that, I think the president could tone it down a little bit. I do. He's angry. I get it. We all are. We got to find some place to get on the road to recovery. Maybe it's James Comey. Let's start with Don in Ohio. Don, it's your turn here on Free for All Friday. Let's kick things off.
Good morning, Steve. I listen to you every day, and this isn't one of your three topics, but I feel that you talk about it before. You know, Congress removed that guy from New York City that won the Republican seat because he lied during his election
Yep.
and lied a lot.
Santos.
Why haven't they removed any of the squad? There they go to a room full of Muslims, the one, and talks about infiltrating every part of America. The other one marries her brother, the lady from Minnesota.
Yeah.
And the other one
let me
talks
field the
violence
question.
all the
I got
time
this,
to tell
Don.
lies.
It's a good call and it's a good question, and I appreciate it. Here's why. Because Republicans tend to do the right thing more often than not, in my opinion. Now, are they perfect? No, they're politicians. They're not pure as the driven snow. They're politicians. Do they get rich from going to Congress? Yeah, many of them do. Do they get access to opportunities and information allowing them to trade stocks and get rich? Yeah, they do all that. But I don't disagree with you. But Santos was removed for being a fraud, and I agree with you. If Ilhan Omar, and this has been pretty well documented, she married her brother to cheat the system to get him into the country, right? And then she turned around and married one of her political advisors or whatever. The Republicans tend to take people out more. I mean, look at the what was his name? The senator, Goldbar Bob. The Democrats didn't take him out either. We had to do that. Bob Menendez, the senator, who finally got convicted and resigned. It's unbelievable. All right, Carlos, you're in Florida. You're next. What's up?
Hey, Steve, I got a good one for you.
All right.
Can you let one of your Ravs reporters, when they talk to Trump, and tell him that before he lets those 600,000 military-age people come here to study in this country, tell him to read a book called The Old Lady and the Snake.
The Old Lady and the Snake. Yeah, we got 600,000 people coming here to study in college. I think it's, by the way, a terrible idea. I happen to agree with you on that.
That's Trump's favorite story, The Old Lady and the Snake. Tell him to read that story.
All right.
That's what I got to say.
Carlos, greatly appreciate it. We'll move right along. Ray is in Virginia. Ray, how are you today? It looks like a lot of action in the Virginia governor's race. Looks like the New Jersey governor's race could swing to the Republican. But, Ray, how are you today?
Well, I'm glad you were talking about Donald Trump, because that's what's on my mind.
All right.
All the ads, all the political ads on TV are anti-Trump from the Democrats.
Yep.
Don't be like Trump. He's like Trump. And they're too dumb to realize that Donald Trump and his administration are the only people that I can remember. I'm 75.
Okay.
And as long as I can remember, there's not been a president or his administration trying to solve problems. And they are trying to do that every day. And all they get is criticism, criticism, criticism. And you're right.
I agree with
These
you.
people have no idea what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ray. Thank you for the phone call. Look, for example, the tariffs. The Chinese have not bought soybeans, so it's a problem for a lot of farmers in this country. But we just got over $200 billion in tariffs, record amount of money. Trump says he's going to direct that money to farmers. It's a smart move. It's a smart move if that's what he does. We can't allow our farmers, because it also makes farmers vulnerable in Iowa, Nebraska, and elsewhere when it comes to the midterm elections. We need them to be on the right side of history, obviously. We'll take a break and be back. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. All right, back to it now as we continue the phone calls on a Free-Speech Free-for-All Friday. Of course, the left calls this an attack on democracy. We're not on the slippery slope to a constitutional crisis. This is a constitutional crisis. All the predictable things, things that they didn't say when Mar-a-Lago got raided. Things they didn't say when Trump was targeted over and over. Things they didn't say when bogus FISA requests to surveil people were put forth. They didn't just say this when General Mike Flynn got targeted in a horrible way, right? No, I didn't say any of those things. All right, let's go to Roxanne. She's in Florida. Roxanne, welcome to it. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm fine. Thanks for everything you guys do for us.
I appreciate that.
First thing, a real quick note is I would just remind people when we've got these upcoming elections that they're going to report, so-and-so's in the lead and all of this stuff. But just like in 2016, they all of a sudden scratch their head on election night. 2020, that we got a lot of that gaslighting. So it's going to happen. So I wouldn't put too much stock in any of that. But my real concern is this AI stuff. Alex Jones just had a really informative thing. Albania, the government of Albania, their leader, installed an AI bot as a member of parliament.
I'll have to look that up. I don't consider Alex Jones a source, by the way, just so we're clear on that. I don't consider him a valid source. Too many things he said that are flat wrong, Roxanne. I'm going to call it as I see it. He's been right about some things, but he's been very, very wrong about some things that are kind of shameful. Let's just be honest about that. Anyhow, I appreciate the call. I do. Installing an AI bot, maybe. I saw a woman in New York City on the sidewalk saying she had married Luigi Mangioni's AI personality, or however you look at it. Luigi Mangione, the guy that murdered the healthcare executive in cold blood on the streets of New York, right? AI can be good. AI can be very, very dangerous. I'd like it to be worked for good, but I think more often than not, it's going to be used against us. All right, Dave is in Maryland. Dave, how are you today?
Good morning, sir. It's a beautiful day on Delmarva.
There you go. Beautiful day. It is a beautiful day in America. Go ahead.
Yep, and I'd like to speak to the shooting of Charles Kirk and the narrative that the powers that be are trying to sell us does not hold water, in the words of Joe Pesci. Too many inconsistencies. Anybody that's ever taken a buck with a 30-06 knows that a 30-06 would have probably removed most of Mr. Kirk's neck, maybe, left
See, I'm
his head
going to have to disagree with you, Dave. Dave, I'm going to have to disagree with you. I hunted professionally for 25 years all over the world. Used all sorts of rifles. Rarely used a 30-06 because it's got the worst ballistics of any big game rifle. But go on.
He's gone.
Okay, well, let me just lay this out for you. He didn't have to leave. The point is this. Would the bullet oftentimes come out? Yes. But you have to remember, I'm going to go over this again. The shooter is elevated. The shooter is shooting from where the shooter is. He's shooting slightly right to left. Where he caught Charlie was here, which would have been a downward trajectory into bone, not just soft tissue. Would an exit wound be expected? Sure, unless it hit bone and lost momentum. And we don't know what kind of bullet it was. Was it a partition bullet? Was it a solid bullet? How old was the bullet? We know it was a World War I rifle. I think that he was attempting to shoot Charlie Kirk in the head. I think he was trying for a headshot in front of everybody. I think the shot was low because it was sighted in at about 100 yards, maybe less. So the bullet dropped 6 or 8 inches and had a lousy trigger pull, which is why he yanked it to the right. He got lucky, and Charlie paid with his life. It was a missed shot. He did not place the shot well because he was not a very good shot to begin with. It's sad. That's my take on it, and until I see mathematical evidence otherwise, we'll go with it. Because you have to believe, if you believe that, you have to believe that the doctor lied. You have to believe that Erica Kirk lied. Come on, guys. Come on. Now, having said that, and looking at these things with Twig, his roommate, that looks completely contrived to me. I think there's other people involved with this, and I think that's why they're running down all the leads. So we'll see how this plays out. But an 06 is not an automatic. In fact, I can assure you, I've taken 1,000 big game animals in my life, roughly. And I can show you every instance was different. And sometimes the bullet wouldn't come out, and you're like, well, that's weird. It should have, and you'll find it right under the hide sometimes, which is the way I was explaining that the bullet was sitting right under Charlie's skin in the back. I don't know. But it seems consistent with enough of my hunting experience, which, again, is extensive, all over the world, 15 countries, every province of Canada, every state that was worthwhile going to in America, Alaska, the Northwest Territories, everywhere. I have experience that I think matters. And so that's why I apply that here. All right, Jeff is also in Maryland. Jeff, how are you today?
Hello, Steve. Keep up the great work. Love your show.
Thank you.
Got a question for you. If these protesters that you see out there, or any of these hacks that get on CNN or any of these other lefty places, if they're being paid by somebody like Soros to come out and say something, and you got to admit exactly they're being paid. So is it still free speech at that point?
Probably. Probably, because people are paid to be proponents of things. Okay, so they're out there with their signs that are provided. It's still free speech. It doesn't say in the First Amendment, you have the right to say this or that unless you're getting paid. It doesn't say that. I know, it's right here. Doesn't say anything about being compensated.
Right. I agree, but if it's your own words, that's fine. You're being paid to say go out and support something. Those are going to be your own words. But if you're specifically given, say this, that's not free speech in my opinion.
Well, I appreciate the call. Maryland, well represented today, Dave and Jeff. I got Ken, Mike, Olin, others still on the way. It is Patriot Mobile, free speech, free for all Friday. The phone number is 877-310-9966. If you want to send me an email, I have got a doozy here I have to read, which is one of the strains I've got. Go to stevegruber.com. You can send me an email. We don't have to agree on all the Charlie Kirk things, and we probably don't. But that's my position. It's a rational position. I'm not nuts. It comes from experience. stevegruber.com, send me a note. Right track or wrong track? New polling from The Hill shows that 75% of Americans believe we're on the wrong track. Are you in that camp? It's basically the same place it was before Trump was elected last year, a year ago in September. It was 73%, then it's 75% now, statistically the same. All right. Let me get one more call in here. Ken in Pennsylvania, how are you today?
Steve.
Yeah.
I can't hear you. Real quick, have you seen any polling numbers on switching registrations up here? I'm talking to people on the ground, and this Charlie Kirk assassination has really changed a lot of minds of people up here, and it's really starting to get scary. People that are Democrats I've never thought that would flip. Are you getting anything out of Pennsylvania?
I've had anecdotal evidence out of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Arizona, some of the swing states, showing exactly what you're talking about. A surge in registration for Republicans and a move from the left to the right of people leaving and saying, I can't be part of this anymore. When they see the guy down the street dancing on the grave of Charlie Kirk, or they see a school teacher or a professor on social media celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, they're like, whoa. That offends the morals of a lot of people and pushes them to the right.
It seems like it's some of the women up here that have been Democrats, they flipped. And then real quick, this is about illegal aliens. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Have you ever heard of anybody, if they can deport them, the illegals, well, can we deport them to Ukraine? They need boots on the ground over there.
Well, I wouldn't send anybody there necessarily. But Ken, thank you for the call. Greatly appreciate it. We got Mike and Olin, a whole bunch of folks still coming up. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Like I said, you can send me an email. Don't like what I'm saying? Look, I'll take all covers. Left, right, in the middle, I don't care. I'm not a Republican. I'm an independent. So whatever you want to, go with. I've never been part of any political party, nor would I ever be, I don't think. I vote to the right most often because I think they're right more often than anybody on the left. In fact, I can't remember. There was times when I was younger, I'd vote for a Democrat here and there. I can't think of one these days that I align with or would want to be part of. All right, there's your. And who is the leader of the Democrat Party? Is it Hillary Clinton again? Good boy. We'll be right back. All right, back to it. Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Make sure you support Patriot Mobile. If you're not using Patriot Mobile right now, I can say, why not? Far better supporting conservative causes and not putting money where you don't want it. Here's a letter that I got. I had to share this with you. Kathy Smith writes, and if you don't want your name used on the air, just say, Steve, don't use my name, and I won't. All right, if you send me an email like this one, or like the one Tracy just sent me, or others. Here's one from Kathy Smith. I heard you say you're tired of all the lies. Why are you lying about Charlie Kirk and telling people he died? And saying he was shot? No, he wasn't. They faked it. And go to on and on about him being shot. It was an air compressor. I'm not sure what her medication was like, to be fair. It was an air compressor. Watch the video in slow motion. And to go on and on about Charlie and his wife, that wasn't even her making the speech. Charlie was for Israel, and his wife was included in it. But they got to sell, make money off it. Just really tired of it. Always thought you were true, but no, I see you as a follower, not a leader. How I was wrong. Well, sorry to disappoint you, Kathy Smith. I'm here to tell you, Kathy, check your meds. People are concerned. Mike in Florida is next. Mike, how are you?
Good, Steve. How are you this morning? Thanks for taking my call.
Of course.
The reason I wanted to speak with you was the left is planning a No Kings rally here in 2 weeks, and I thought maybe from our side we should think about Christ is King rally in response.
That would make a lot more sense. I think that makes a lot more sense. I mean, that's the point of it, isn't it? Christ is king. Donald Trump is not a king. And Comey was indicted by a grand jury, not by a king. Not by a king. All right? Just be clear about that. And look, if Comey's innocent, go through the process. That's what people do. People are falsely accused every day. If you truly believe that Comey has been falsely accused, fine. Let it go through the process. He can get acquitted. And until then, shh. That's what I say to my friends of the left. Mike, great call. Thank you. Yeah, Christ is King rally. That's a good idea. Olin is in South Carolina. Olin, how are you, sir?
Good morning, Steve.
How are you?
You there?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm good, buddy. Couple things, Steve. The email you just got from Kathy, she ain't on medication. She's on crack.
Yeah,
and these little clowns that are going around, the individual that shot Charlie Kirk, they have no clue what they're doing, Steve. And we need to go after the people politically, money-wise, these phony networks. We need to break them and shut them up once and for all, Steve, because the people on the right are getting tired of it, and how much longer are they going to take it?
Well, that's a good question. I preach to be calm and collected. Keep your powder dry. Nobody needs to get excited. Look, the left is going to say crazy things. They're going to attack Charlie Kirk. They're going to dance on his grave. As my mother used to say, do not lower yourself to their level. Do not lower yourself to their level, Olin. That's my advice. Thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate it. But also hold people accountable. James Comey isn't being, targeted. He's being held accountable. You can't legally leak classified information out the side door to your buddy at the New York Times to damage the sitting president. And yet, that's exactly what he did, in my estimation. Pete is in Tennessee. Pete, how are you today?
Yes, sir. I got a question for you. The government shutdown coming. I want to know, is there a law where we have to give them people back pay? We found out when the last shutdown, when all the people came back, they got full back pay. But we also just found out a month or so ago that we had been lied to, that the preachers can preach about politics in the churches. That was some BS that Lyndon B. Johnson did.
That's right.
So do you know for sure, do we have to pay them back for the time they're off? Because nobody seems to be able to tell me the answer. Is there a law or a contract? Because if we don't, I say don't pay them, because if you work at a company and it goes bankrupt, while you
don't get paid. No, you get unemployment. That's right. You get unemployment, which is whatever percentage of your paycheck, Pete. Thanks for the call. I don't know the rules. You know what? I'll endeavor to look it up and see if I can find if it's required to make back pay payments. Now, the military operates, the border operates, these government shutdowns. I mean, what, a national park shuts down? Well, then change your vacation plans, I suppose. I've never noticed much about government shutdowns being much of a concern. People are going to get taken care of. People are, they get paid their back pay. All right, Michelle in Florida. Michelle, how are you today?
Good. How you doing, Steve?
I'm good.
My, comment is in 1990, 101st Congress appealed McCarran-Warner Act of 1952, which allows the Muslims to hold office. How is that even possible?
Well, they did change that in 1990. You're right. And there was a prohibition on it. But I guess when you read the Constitution, the right shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. So we're a victim of our own Constitution in that regard. You can't prohibit religion, and I don't think you can prohibit people from holding office from religion. However, I have a caveat to that, because when it comes to Sharia law, that is not allowed. Sharia law is not allowed. We have a Republican form of government guaranteed by our Constitution. That can never change. Okay, that's my answer.
Right. Well, it's getting pretty ugly out here, I think, you know.
I don't disagree with you.
Just want to say, love your show.
Thank you, Michelle. Greatly appreciate it. Andrew, Colorado. Andrew, how are you today?
Hey, Steve. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, this is Andrew in Durango, Colorado.
Yep.
Thank you for your show. Thank you for the network. Thank you for the truth. And I have one question, and that is, where's the other $141 billion that Doge uncovered through waste, fraud, and abuse? Because I sure have not received my check yet.
I didn't get your check either. I can tell you, Andrew, your check did not come to me, which is a little disappointing, I got to be honest. I don't know where that money is. We also just got $200 billion in tariffs that came through the door. $200 billion, all-time record for tariffs in the last few weeks. $200 billion. Donald Trump's going to send a lot of that off to the farmers because they're getting hurt in all of this. Good question, Andrew. Appreciate it.
They need it. We need it here in Durango, Colorado, for sure.
Amen. Roy, you're up next. You're in North Carolina, my friend. How are you, Roy?
Hey, Steve, I'm good. I appreciate you letting me get on like this. You know, that lady brought up Alex Jones earlier, and you were talking about how he's wrong about a bunch of stuff. And it reminds me of the time that you were wrong about Donald Trump the day after the midterms in 2022.
But what was I wrong about?
Very strong, very strong. Donald Trump is not our man. It's
I never
obvious.
said it.
Maybe
Whoa, Roy.
Steve.
I never said that, Roy.
Yeah, you did. I remember it specifically.
Okay, well then come up with the tape. If there's a tape that you can produce.
Donald Trump is not our man.
Here's the good news, Roy. I'm going to say that didn't happen, or you heard it wrong, or you've twisted my words, which is fine.
Go check.
Which is fine.
Go check.
Every program I've ever done, you can find it at stevegruber.com. Every program I've done for the last 14 years is there.
Check that for us.
If you can find it, you can prove me wrong.
Play that for us.
I didn't say it, Roy. But I appreciate the call. I don't mind. Anybody can call, Roy. See, that's the beauty of this thing. It's called free speech, and I love it. You're wrong about that. I didn't say Donald Trump is not our man after the midterms of 22. Anyhow, if you could produce the tape, I will play it. And you know what I would say? I would say, if I said such a thing, I was wrong. But I didn't say it. Anyhow, we'll be back. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. conversation. You know, I talk often about the partners we have here on the program and the good work that they do. One of those partners is Patriot Mobile. Whether it's floods in Texas or a hurricane in Western North Carolina, they step up and they get involved with important things that, well, help this country, help our neighbors. They've also been involved with Turning Point USA for a while now. And with everything that's happened, they're just rededicating their support. Scott Coburn is the Chief Marketing Officer of Patriot Mobile. He joins me now. Scott, thank you for being here.
Steve, thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure to come on and share a little bit about what's going on with Patriot Mobile with you guys.
Absolutely. Look, Ivy and I were fortunate enough, I think honored, to be at the event in Phoenix to honor Charlie Kirk. Powerful moments. Powerful moments. And I know Turning Point USA and Patriot Mobile have a relationship. I know you're going to continue to honor that relationship. It's remarkable. The last thing I just saw, 125,000 new applications for chapters for TPUSA. I mean, it's beyond imagination. It's a terrible price to pay to lose Charlie Kirk, but what a remarkable turn of events it has become.
Praise the Lord, Steve. That's just phenomenal. And look, you knew Charlie, so you know this very well. But Charlie was a gift. He was a gift from the Lord. He was a gift to every single one of us who had the honor and the privilege to hear his voice and to hear him speak about truth. And honestly, I personally know of no greater champion of speaking truth when it comes to defending our freedoms in this country than Charlie Kirk. And, you know, here's the deal. Like right now, I think all of us really need to focus in on God's promise through this. And God's promise is that he will take what the enemy intended for harm and turn it for good. And although it is a tragic, tragic thing, Charlie's loss, and we're all hurting deeply, we are going to turn this for good with the Lord's help. We've seen it already. You mentioned the inquiries for new chapters.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Charlie would have wanted. He wants us to continue the movement. And Steve, you mentioned our efforts, you know, with supporting Turning Point USA. We are fully committed to not only continuing to support, but to doubling down our efforts in supporting them financially and with boots on the ground. Through any way we can help them, we are going to do that. That's how we will honor Charlie's legacy and to continue this incredible movement that he started.
Yeah, I applaud you for that, Scott. No question about it. Look, they said at the memorial, when a tyrant dies, his work is over. When a martyr dies, the work has just begun. And Charlie wore a wristband for a long time. They gave away red wristbands at the event because he wore a red wristband for years that said, work harder, do better. Work harder, do better. He ended up giving that away at one of those college events because somebody asked, what is that wristband? Why do you always wear that? And he handed that out. And I think that's one of the ways we remember Charlie Kirk. Work harder, do better as individuals, as companies like Patriot Mobile, and just do what needs to be done to rededicate ourselves to this country, to the Lord, to the mission ahead.
Great point, Steve. And you know, you're 100% correct. This needs to serve as a reminder to all of us that our work is not done. We're in the first inning of a 9-inning baseball game here. We've got a lot of work to do in defending our freedoms and against the evil that's coming from the left. And one way, as you know, that we can do that is to support companies that align with our values and beliefs, like Patriot Mobile and others. It's one way that you can contribute to the movement simply by switching your cell phone over to Patriot Mobile. You'll know that a portion of every bill you pay with Patriot Mobile is going to go to organizations like Turning Point USA and others that are so critical in the movement right now, that are doing such great things. And that's why we exist, Steve, is simply to support the movement through our customers, on behalf of our customers, and in the bills that they pay with Patriot Mobile.
Yeah, and for people that don't know, you got involved with Western North Carolina after the hurricane came through. You got involved with those floods here a few weeks ago in Texas, you know, delivering chainsaws and other desperately needed items. Patriot Mobile steps up and fills a need well beyond having phones for folks. Hey, you're an American company. Your service centers are
Well, they're staffed by Americans who I can understand when I call, which I greatly appreciate. To be honest, I mean, it's an American company looking out for America for the right reasons, and Turning Point USA is the right reason right now, isn't it?
Yeah, Steve, it really is. And you mentioned some of the efforts that we do, for aid, when disaster strikes.
Yeah.
That's our heart. I mean, that's our heart is to help people. And we're happy to do so whenever the Lord calls us to do so. And again, that's why we exist. I just think that right now we all need to be asking ourselves, what more can we do individually? Like, what more can we do to help the movement? And again, switching your cell phone is just one way. There's other ways. I encourage all of you to support Turning Point USA right now. I mean, not only support it in your local communities at the chapters, the local high school and colleges in your communities, but financially support them. They are one of the most effective organizations. For every dollar they earn, they make the best use of that money to go towards the cause. So I encourage everybody to look into somehow, if you're able to, contributing to Turning Point USA.
Yeah, work harder, be better. I agree with you on that, Scott. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for Patriot Mobile. Thank you for all that you do in supporting America. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. God bless you.
And now I realize, look, folks, there are a lot of choices when it comes to who you choose for your phone service. New ones are popping up all the time, but as you just heard, here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for. That, my friends, is Patriot Mobile, like Scott just laid out. Not only are they leading the way in the red economy, but Patriot Mobile also outgains the competition when it comes to technology. Patriot Mobile is one of the only carriers with access to all three major U.S. networks. That means exceptional nationwide coverage, along with the ability to have multiple numbers on different networks on a single phone. Even the big guys can't do that. It's a game changer. They also have unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and they support the things that you care about, all right? PatriotMobile.com/Gruber. Go there right now. PatriotMobile.com/Gruber or call 972-PATRIOT. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll get a free month of service. PatriotMobile.com. Promo code Gruber. We'll be right back.
Dean's the first hang-up we've got. Only one so far.
All right, let's get into it. We got Dave in Arizona as we continue Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Dave, how are you?
I'm blessed, sir. Thank you so much for asking. It was nice to see you under the circumstances, you and the whole RAV crew at Charlie's memorial. Celebration of life.
Celebration
of life. Celebration of life.
There you go. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. Yeah, just saying I were honored to see you. Well, I was calling about the legislative branch. I'm shocked that little Polly Pockets is surprised that he hasn't been able to pass 12 single subject spending bills in a whole year. It's like these people that say, well, oh, geez, Christmas is next week. I'm buying presents. How did he not know when September 30th was? It's the same time on the calendar every single year, right? It sure seems like it's a legislative coup. I do want to share a Bible verse with you, though, too. Please.
Real quick.
Sorry. Yeah, so Daniel 12:3. It's apropos for Mr. Kirk because he's a seed planter. Those who are wise will shine as bright as the sky, and those who lead many to righteousness will shine like the stars forever. And I believe that's Charlie's role now, to be a star, a North Star for us.
He is a leader. He is the North Star. I mean, Christ is Christ, but Charlie is an inspiration, that's for sure. Thank you, Dave. Let's go to Paul in Tennessee. Get one more in before we hit the break. Paul, how are you?
Oh, good morning, Steve. I'm doing good. I wanted to answer your question about who the leader of the Democratic Party is. Little background real quick. When I was in 1977, when I was 16 years old, I did a paper and a presentation on the Democrats versus the Republicans. And that is when I first learned how evil the Democrats were and how much they hated the Constitution based on editorials written by the founders of the Democratic Party, public statements they made. And I will tell you unequivocally, bad pronunciation, but anyway.
Who's the leader? We got 10 seconds.
Party is Satan himself.
There you go. I thought we were getting there. Paul, thank you. Really appreciate it. Free Speech, Free for All Friday. It continues for the next 2 hours. Of course, like I said, you can send me an email. If you don't want to be heard on the air, that's fine. SteveGruber.com. Send me there. I've got Mike, Paul, Rick. Got new ones coming in. We'll be right back on Free for All Friday.
there's always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent.
Come on, man.
We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
It certainly is on a free speech, free-for-all Friday. A lot to talk about here today. 800 military leaders, generals, and admirals. That's number one, headed for Washington. The meeting will be next week, I'm told. Let's see. The FBI found a high degree of pre-attack planning in the suspect of the Dallas ICE attack. And number three, a lot to talk about, mostly James Comey here. That's number three, James Comey on a free speech, free-for-all Friday. Here's a couple of the quotes. Stephen Miller says the Democrat Party is not a political party. It's a domestic extremist organization. Days later, Miller put in charge of coordinating a federal campaign to prosecute domestic terrorist organizations. Was Stephen Miller on the grand jury that voted to indict James Comey? Was he? His speech at Charlie Kirk's memorial was a textbook example of fascist rhetoric. Can I get that textbook and read it so I can know for sure? We are days away from Stephen Miller rounding up registered Democrats. How many days? Should I put it on my calendar, on my planner? Just checking. All right, we go. The phone line's powered by Patriot Mobile, as you know. If you're not using Patriot Mobile right now, you're missing out helping a company that helps Americans. They're supporting Turning Point USA. They're partners with Turning Point USA, so we should all be, I think, at this point. All right, Mike is in California. He's been patient. Mike, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Gruber. One, I want to say thank you real quick for you and Rav and all you guys do.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I have two real quick ones, and if I can get an answer, maybe it'll make me feel better.
All right.
One, when you do an election, that means not an appointment. And in California, we haven't had an election in over 45 years. That's one. And I mean, two, when these people are elected, our officials, so-called officials, aren't they supposed to take a oath like the rest of us to protect from domestic and foreign terrorists, not be them like Fang, child molesters,
yeah.
Fang, whatever, the little boy without a wiener. That's the other one, Scott Wiener, the child molester.
Wiener. What was it? What the heck was his first name? Congressman Wiener? Yeah. Whatever. Lots of problems, Mike. Greatly appreciate the call. I do. Before we get too far off the tracks here, I appreciate it. Little sarcasm. Love it, by the way. By the way, with all the Democrats here screaming like smashed cats about, they're specifically going after Democrats. Nobody complained on the left when Alvin Bragg and Letitia James literally campaigned, we're going to go after Donald Trump. If we get elected, we're going to go after Donald Trump. We're going to go after his organization. We're going after him. We're going to raid Mar-a-Lago. We're going to do all of these terrible things. Oh, really? Nobody complained about that. All right, let's go to the Bronx. Let's put our pulse right in the center of New York. Raul is in the Bronx. Raul, how are you?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you and the Rav family for doing what they got to do for all of us in this country.
Thank you.
I definitely thank you. And I also, I don't know Charlie Kirk, but I'm sure he was a great man in his own way, and I'm sure he did a lot for the country and the people, as well as the young people.
Right.
Quick comment. I sent out 2 letters to President Trump. I'm in a shelter right now, and I've been in it for 7 years. And due to the Democratic Party and due to all the stuff that's going on here in New York City, is there any way that you could tell him that I sent him letters out since July, and I haven't heard anything from September, and this is September. But I respect the fact of what he's doing, and I know he's a very busy man. And I was just wondering if there was any way you can give him a shout-out to let him know that I sent out 2 letters to him at his Fifth Avenue location as well as in Washington, because I've been waiting patiently for 7 years, and I've gone through all types of hoops to try to get some help to move forward.
So since 2018. All right, Raul, look, I'll do my best. I'll Why are people stuck in these situations for years? Oftentimes, I can tell you, because the Democrats, they need victims. I mean, look around. Do the cities ever improve? Anthony and I were just talking about this. Anthony says, I would never live in a big city. We saw this crazy footage of these immigrants, you know, selling stuff illegally on the streets. When somebody stopped to take a picture, man, they got accosted, right? The cities don't ever improve because the Democrats have to have victims to point to. Oh, we're going to help you. They never help anybody. The Great Society of Lyndon Baines Johnson, they've spent 25 or 30 trillion dollars in the Great Society. They've barely moved the needle on poverty. The cities have gotten exponentially worse, and the list goes on. All right, let's go to Rick in Kentucky. Rick, how are you?
Hey, Steve, doing great, buddy. Hey, first of all, Rav really did themselves proud through Charlie Kirk coverage, so I was super impressed, and it was a tribute to Charlie and the network, and so you guys did a great job on that.
Thank
so I just want to make that comment.
Yeah.
Second thing is, I heard Steve Bannon talk about this yesterday, and it's super interesting to me, and I'd love to see if you have a little more depth on it or if you could look into it. But with this looming shutdown, it was brought up by Russ Vought that because the government had not really given all the appropriations or had really followed their textbook rules for the shutdown, that if the Democrats kind of stand fast on this guillotine and they shut the government down, it gave tremendous power to President Trump to deem essential and non-essential in this particular situation. And they're talking about, I mean, a huge percentage of non-essential workers being let go.
Well, if you're not essential, you know, I hated that term, by the way, during COVID. It was essential and not essential workers. Rick, I hated that term because the job is essential for you to feed your family. It's pretty essential to you, isn't it? And you know, I hated that. But I think that's exactly right. I think there's also the possibility that Donald Trump can make recess appointments. I have to look into that as well. That was, you know, the things I think about at the middle of the night when I wake up, you know, and stir. I think you might be onto something, Rick. I'm going to dig into it. I'm going to let you know. I'll be back to you on that. All right, let's get Kurt in from Alabama before we run out of time. Kurt, how are you?
Pretty good, Steve. Good to have you here today. Appreciate your work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, I have a question for you. Why can't we take the radical LGBTQT woke in the trans and send them to the Middle East? They're looking to fill 800,000 high positions. And why can't we open up Alcatraz to the Antifa and people like them?
Well, you know, we don't generally deport our own people. Look, you can be a freak in America. I don't care. You can be a freak and dress however you want to do it. But you can't go after the children. You can't mutilate kids. You can't tell me I have to accept your pronouns because you're, you know, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. Well, look, you know, whatever. Sling Blade, another movie that circulates around the asylum. Just because you're nuts doesn't mean I have to go along with it, all right? Just saying. Leave the kids alone. Leave the kids alone.
Are you ready to reclaim your vitality?
All right, I was sharing with you some of the comments on social media. The left going bananas, as you can imagine, because James Comey has been indicted on 2 charges, felony charges, of leaking classified material, basically, and lying to Congress about it. These are very, these are serious charges. They're felony charges. Are they going to stand up? That's the question. You've got all these people going crazy. Of course, these are the same people that never complained about Alvin Bragg or Letitia James campaigning on the fact they would attack Donald Trump if elected, which they did, and lost, but did all that. They seem to be fine with that. Joining me now is Michael Wynn. He's a public corruption lawyer. He also served as an assistant U.S. attorney for 12 years. Michael, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, morning. So give me an idea. I mean, this was returned by a grand jury. People saying that Donald Trump threw out the person last week that wouldn't bring this. This week they've got a person they put in place. The charges are brought, but it still went through a grand jury. I mean, the attorney didn't make the decision. Donald Trump didn't make the decision, right? A grand jury voted at some point, correct?
That's right. Evidence was presented to the grand jury. The grand jury determined that there was sufficient evidence to return the indictment. Absolutely right.
So let me ask you this, Michael. Is it a crime to take classified information, slide it out the side door to your buddy who's a professor and give it to the New York Times? Is that a felony?
That is a felony.
And that's pretty cut and dried. If you sit in front of Congress and say, I didn't do that, and lie to Congress, is that a felony?
If you had to rank them, I think that is far worse. The times in our lives when the truth is inconvenient, sometimes the boldest step is to say the truth. And did you see this memo or part of it? Tell the truth, even though there may be some personal repercussions politically. Because not telling the truth led to a long, costly, painful investigation. That's the Mueller report. Gosh, it's hard for some people, but you're in that position. Part of the job is risking your job and telling the truth.
So from where you stand, it looks pretty cut and dried. We know the memo. We know what's in the public record already, which is we know that James Comey has said that he, slid information out the side door to his professor friend. We know that James Comey lied when asked by Susan Collins, the Republican from Maine, about did you ever knowingly do these things or talk to somebody else about classified information? No, I did not. It doesn't even seem like a close call. The Democrats would have you believe this is only Donald Trump. This is a witch hunt, use Donald Trump's term. What do you make of it, Michael? From where you stand as a former assistant U.S. attorney, what do you think?
Well, first of all, it's disturbing. When I was an assistant U.S. attorney, there's several times, where I had to just answer questions, not necessarily put me in my favorable light, not necessarily further, our own case. They were prosecuting righteous cases. That's part of the job. You tell the truth. Particularly, I'm far more disturbed, about the false testimony in front of Congress than I am, about the slipping doors or, slipping information out a door to a professor, although that's wrong too. But, our institutions have to demand complete candor, and he, above anybody else, should have known that, regardless of what had done with his relationship with the Clinton campaign, whatever it might be. You got to tell the truth.
My colleague on Real America's Voice, Steve Bannon, was thrown into jail for declining to appear in front of Congress. Peter Navarro, the same, thrown into jail for refusing a subpoena. I think lying to Congress in person as the director of the FBI is a much more serious offense than not showing up. Your thoughts?
Exponentially worse. You don't show up or refuse to get a subpoena, everybody knows where you stand. If you do show up in an official capacity, they think they depend on you telling the truth. No, this is exponentially worse. It looks, based on the evidence, pretty straightforward. Grand jury, despite what people say, in my experience, they do scrutinize the evidence and they will no bill a case if there's not enough there to meet the elements of the crime. So
you probably like a lot of folks. You look at, you can't say how the case is going to come out. But what does your gut tell you about this? To me, it looks pretty cut and dry and a serious thing. The Democrats can scream and kick and scream and do whatever. He was indicted by a grand jury. The tape is pretty black and white clear. What he said to Susan Collins, the senator. What's your gut tell you how this comes out?
All right, my gut tells me, more than my gut, my head tells me it's going to be some type of plea agreement. When any defense attorney who has this, and he's turned to some very good ones, takes a look at the evidence. This is a plea. Better be a plea. Guilty in fairly short order.
Well, I appreciate you being here, Michael. I think it's a serious charge. You have basically reinforced my position on this. Sent down by a grand jury, and people are going to be held accountable. That's what I think. Thank you for taking the time here today.
No, thank you. A trial would be just a disaster for the country. This is a plea.
This is a plea.
I don't see any other result. Thank you. Have a good day. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Well, you know what? I'm going to wonder about that because I don't know if the Democrats care if it's a disaster for the country. Free speech, free for all Friday. Do we still have Lee on the line from Alabama? Let's jump over there for catch a quick call. Lee, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mr. Gruber. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, ma'am.
A little off subject, but reading yesterday, I had read about former Ambassador John Bolton and his classified document situation.
Yep.
And also how he plays into all of this Comey issue. Where do we stand with Ambassador, and I use those terms lightly, John Bolton, with his classified document situation?
I think he's got some. I think he's got some trouble. I do. I think Bolton's got some trouble. He said he didn't have any classified documents, and lo and behold, he's got classified, secret. He had 3 classifications. Classified and secret are the 2 that come to mind.
Yes, sir.
And he had a pile of them. Well, some of the stuff is old. Well,
yes,
maybe
sir.
it is, maybe it isn't. I think he's in real legal peril, Lee. I greatly appreciate the call. I got to jump. I'm sorry. Thank you. Greatly appreciate you. I appreciate all of you. Free for All Friday will continue after this. All right, let's get to a couple of calls here as we work through Free for All Friday. Lawrence is in Michigan. Lawrence, how are you today?
I'm in Georgia right now, driving down to see my brother, but I'm from Michigan.
All right, so
Mr. Steve, yeah.
I'm having trouble with that. We need to reconnect that one, Brock. I can't understand what's being said there. So let's jump over to Gene in Ohio. Gene in Ohio, you're next. What's on your mind?
Good morning, Steve. Love your show. You're the reason why I get out of bed before 6 a.m. every day. Hey, in regard, I respect your knowledge about hunting, and I'm concerned about the ballistics. I've never heard anybody say that the shot, the slug, whatever, from Tyler Robinson's gun matches what was found in Charlie Kirk's neck. Have you read anything about this matchup of the ballistics, which they usually do in every crime scene?
Well, I mean, I'm sure it'll be part of the. It will have to be part of the court record when it comes through. I'm sure of it. It'll be part of the court record when it comes through.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I haven't looked at
I would
that.
think so.
You know, we've had a lot of discussions on this program about, you know, whether or not a 30-06 would be a through and through. Oftentimes it would be, but it's not always that way. You know, you would expect it to be a through and through, but it's not always that way, especially when you're shooting from an elevated position down. I have not seen a ballistics report, but I'll look into it, and we'll figure it out. And I'll let you know, Gene, as soon as we know here. Obviously, I will share it with you. And I appreciate you getting out of bed just to see me. I thank you for that. Appreciate that. That's very nice. Brock, good to go or not?
Yep, Lawrence is back. Let's go to him.
All right, Lawrence, real quick. You got about 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Steve. Hey, this has receded into the background because we've had too much news lately. But remember when we were talking about gerrymandering a lot?
Oh, yeah.
A little light bulb went on. In 2022, very logically, we did have a red wave. They had a big blue gerrymander. How else do you explain that?
Oh, that's true. In California, I mean, they took almost 2 months to count votes in California. Yeah, they're rigging it again in California and screaming democracy while complaining that Indiana and some other states are going to go to the right, like Missouri, Indiana. We're going to get some more red seats. You watch. I got to jump. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. All right, back at it here as we sort through the day's news, of course. 2.5 weeks since Charlie Kirk was murdered, and then an attack on an ICE facility, and the left saying, well, obviously not an attack on an ICE facility because some of the detainees were shot. In fact, that's all that were shot. I mean, come on. It's remarkable. Congressman Tim Walberg with me. Congressman, nice to have you here on the program.
Good to be with you.
The big screaming today is coming from James Comey, the defenders of James Comey screaming that he has been, targeted by Donald Trump. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump was not on the grand jury voting about this case, and I'm pretty sure it was not Donald Trump lying to Susan Collins in front of Congress about the memo and things that he knew. Am I missing something, sir?
No, I don't think you are. I think you're pointing out a significant fact that most media are disregarding. They're talking about the fact that now President Trump has his prosecutor there who is his personal attorney, and she's the only one that has brought forward this charge. But they don't point out that it was a grand jury that accepted that charge to the point that they said it's legitimate to move this forward. Now, how it turns out in the end remains to be seen, but the legitimacy of the charge to be brought before a trial has been put forward. So I think that's something very important to remember, that had this been just a personal effort by the president, who certainly has reason to feel this way with all of the lawfare that was used against him. And I might note that under appeal, when it gets to the appropriate court, he is winning. And so this may be the same thing, and I'll I guess say watch it as it progresses, but I certainly think it is justified.
Well, Alvin Bragg and Letitia James, they campaigned on, if I get elected, I will go after Donald Trump. I will indict Donald Trump. I'll do all the. So it's remarkable to me that the left, with a straight face, can sit there and say, well, this is terrible. This is fascism because Trump's going after his political opponents. I don't think they've been to James Comey's house to rifle through his wife's underwear drawer yet, like they did at Mar-a-Lago, or the other, the two impeachments, which were garbage. You sat there for that, obviously. It is so disingenuous. And again, let the court sort it out. I was told by a guest here a short time ago, Michael Wynn, a former assistant U.S. attorney, he doesn't think it'll ever go to trial, that it'll be pled out because he said a trial would be a big spectacle. We'll see. And I think, like you just said, we'll follow it as it goes, right?
Absolutely. But we look at what went on with Russia, the dossier. So far, Trump has been proven right. And really, there ought to be some others that are shaking their boots about a potential trial, one being Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, the second one. So we'll see what happens. But frankly, the pot calling the kettle black in this type of situation, after all the lawfare brought against the former president, the candidate, and now the president, leads you to believe that, number one, Donald Trump can be emotional about this. This has been taking away from much of his life and the cost he's had to bear under this lawfare. For people to say that he is being vindictive, I guess in reality you can understand it. But in the end, a court will decide. And what I know of Comey, having had him sit in front of me, I had opportunity to question him on the Oversight Committee when I was on that panel on these very things. Something didn't smell right in his testimony, and especially as we've seen some other cases develop and come to a conclusion about the whole Russia fix and the dossier and the laptop and everything else that ultimately came out to be true, that these were wrong affairs.
So let me ask you about something else here that doesn't smell right to me. And that is the constant refrain lately in the wake of the murder, the public murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the attack on an ICE agent, the shooting of Donald Trump, the shooting of the congressional baseball game. The list goes on. And yet they continue to regurgitate this idea that somehow the majority of political violence comes from the right. Where? Your little kids getting shot up during Mass in Minnesota. Little kids getting shot up during mass in Nashville, Tennessee. Where is all this right-wing violence? They say 80% of the violence comes from the right. Where, Congressman? They're just lying through their teeth.
They are, and I think we need to point that out. And while I want to see a ratcheting down of the heat and the animus in this country, verbiage, yet we have to say the verbiage is coming from the left. It's coming from the Ilhan Omars, the AOCs, the Tlaibs. It's coming from a multitude of Democrats who are whipping this up. We aren't calling them communists. We aren't calling for taking to the streets. We aren't bringing in Antifa organizations in the wake of the assassination. And I don't call it a murder. It was an assassination that resulted in the death of a free speech advocate, being Charlie Kirk.
Right.
There was no demonstration in the streets. There were vigils, and these vigils were disrupted by vigilantes, Antifa-type people, and others from the left that promoted violence. When you watch the funeral service, the memorial service on Saturday, you saw something entirely different than what took place with the Floyd incident. I mean, this has to be called out firmly, not violently, firmly. It is the left in this country that are perpetrating the violence and even the bloodshed that continue to go on.
Completely agree with that. We do need to ratchet it down. But my concern is it's going to get worse. And what I mean by that is it's not just going to be people like Charlie Kirk. It's going to be ordinary Americans that have a red hat on in public and get shot or whatever it might be. This has to stop. It has to stop now. I'll give you the last word.
Well, it's true, and that's why in the CR that we passed last Friday and the Schumer shutdown is coming, because it's simply they don't want Donald Trump to have anything in moving forward. But that's why we had to put extra security dollars in. That's the only change in the CR from what Schumer and others voted for last March, because of the violence and the threats that members of Congress, to the White House, of course, administration, and to Supreme Court justices, generally the conservative side of the aisle. Right,
the conservative side, yeah. As I recall, yeah, they tried to kill Kavanaugh too, didn't they? And then they always said, well, that was the shamelessness. Well, the guy that killed Charlie Kirk was a MAGA guy. Come on, I mean, that doesn't even stand the idiotic test. Anyhow, I got to leave it there. It just frustrated me, Congressman, that people would say such dumb things and other people would actually believe it. Anyhow, that's what we sort through every day. I hope you have a great weekend, my friend.
Well, how can you help but have a great weekend in pure Michigan?
You got that right. All right. Congressman Tim Walberg, everybody. Thank you, Congressman. Greatly appreciate it. God bless. We'll take a break and be right back on this Free for All Friday. All right, can you believe it? It's almost midterm election time. It is. We'll turn the new year here before you know it, and then we're on to the midterms in 26. My next guest, Anthony Forlini, is a Macomb County clerk, business owner, community member, husband, and father. And he wants to be the next Secretary of State here in the great state of Michigan. Anthony, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve.
All right, so did you have a bad day? Did you something go wrong? You want to get into politics? What happened?
My wife says it's temporary insanity.
Your wife might be out of something there. All right, so tell me the truth. You decided to roll up your sleeves, jump in this race. You had a pretty good, you popped up everywhere on my social media and stuff, so your team's doing its job. Why do you want to do this?
Well, talking about rolling up sleeves, I've been doing this for 5 years as a county clerk, the third largest county in the state of Michigan, doing the things that need to be done to provide a great service for our community and 850,000 people. So we can take some of the things we've learned here at the county level and bring it up to the state level, which is in dire need of some reform.
Cleaning up voter rolls. It's required by the law. And yet, this Secretary of State seems to have been reluctant, continues to drag her feet. Cleaning up voter rolls and so forth. It's required. It seems odd to me that Jocelyn Benson would not do what is required of the job. Does that strike you as odd as well?
I think so. I think because we all want that. I would think we would all want that. We would all want clean voter rolls. Yeah, you would think so. As a matter of fact, we just recently took a look at something in our own database in the clerk's office. And we found that there were 600 people over the age of 100. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. Let's look into it.
How many?
And 600 out of 850,000 people. So not a crazy number, but we're living longer. Maybe that's the right thing. But here's what we found: we had our group go one by one, and we ended up finding through cemetery plots, through obituaries, searching the country. We found over 300 that we can confirm were no longer with us, and we're in the process right now of taking them off the rolls, which is a process, but we're going through it.
But that's a 50% plus error rate. That's not acceptable.
That's just those people over age 100.
No, I understand that.
Low-lying fruit, right? Low-lying fruit. Let's start somewhere. Let's do something right now. Let's see what we can do. Curiosity had the best of me.
And if you have 83 counties that are not doing that, because you're doing that in Macomb County, but it's not being done elsewhere, well, then that's probably not very good, is it?
Well, I can't speak for anybody else. I can speak for us. If we're not doing it, it's not very good. And so we're doing it, and we're doing what we can. And it's a step-by-step process, just like all the other reforms we've taken in our office and we've done to make sure that elections have a high level of integrity and people are confident that their vote counts.
Yeah. All right. So what else would be your priority when it comes to being the Secretary of State? How about driver's licenses? How would those be issued in this state? What's your take on driver's licenses? Who should have them? Who should not have them?
Well, anybody that drives a car needs to have one. A driver's license. That's what it is. It's a driver's license. As far as a form of ID, if you're a citizen, you should have a driver's license. If you're a non-citizen, maybe you shouldn't have a driver's license, or maybe you should have a driver's license that says, "Hey, you're not a citizen." I can't tell you what the best way is, but what I can tell you, what we've done in Macomb, is provide a high level of service, bar none. We won 2 national awards for the organizational efficiency in our office. We took wait times for CPLs down from 2 weeks, if not longer, to no time at all. You can come into our office. We do 30 to 50, 60 CPLs a day, and there's no wait. You come in, and that was never the case. And I challenge just about any county in Michigan, particularly the bigger ones, to have that kind of record. So whether you're getting vital records in our office, marriage certificates, death certificates, whatever the case might be, or you got a court case, or you're registering your deeds with us, everything is turnkey, quick. And I think that's where the Secretary of State needs to really shine, is providing customer service. Nobody likes bad service. I don't like it. You don't like it. As a matter of
Right.
fact, we got rid of voicemail. Voicemail in our office is non-existent because we answer the phone. Imagine that, a government entity that answers the phone.
Well, that's quite a concept. I'm not sure where you came up with it. Nobody answers the phone.
No.
Not
And
much.
you think about it, it's hiding. It's hiding. And think about the time it takes. Somebody calls, you don't answer it, they leave a voicemail. Now you got to listen to the voicemail. Then you got to return the person's phone call. They don't answer. You leave a message. They call again. Again, they get voicemail. Not a good process. We answer the phone as a matter of fact, we track it 98% of the time.
Really? That's quite a record. That's quite a record.
It is.
All right,
Very proud of
so
my team.
what's it going to take for you to come out on top of the race here? Because you're not the only one in the race, of course, Anthony. What's it going to take for you to win this thing?
Well, Steve, we are the one with the track record. We have what I think the people in the state of Michigan want: good service, friendly service. We have a good message to say. We've won 2 national awards, and I think that is the message we're going to bring forward to the people of Michigan. That we provide. We have the formula of a winning formula to provide the service that they're all paying for as taxpayers.
Yeah. Anthony Forlini, he's running for Macomb County. He's running for the Secretary of State. He is the Macomb County Clerk. Let me get that right. Where can they find you online?
Well, you can find us online, anthonyforlini.com. Real simple. It's my name, .com. Or Facebook, Forlini, F-O-R, us.
All right.
So we got a Twitter, and I'm not even sure what the Twitter is, but we got a Twitter too.
I appreciate that. We don't all know all that stuff all the time. Anthony, appreciate you being here. You come back. I'm sure we'll talk again before the election. Nice meeting you.
Thank you, Steve. Same here.
There you go. All right. Good man. He seems to be right on top of it. Knows what his goals are, knows where he wants to be. Kind of refreshing, actually. All right, we'll take a break and be back with sports. Did the Tigers finally win a game? Oh, Lord. It's been rough, but we're going to find out from Brock after the break. All right. How about those Tigers? What happened? Brock, help me out here, sports.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. Jason Myers hit a 52-yard field goal on the game's final play, and that gave the Seattle Seahawks a 23-20 road victory over the Arizona Cardinals last night. Seahawks quarterback Sam Darnold hit wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba with a 22-yard pass to put the Seahawks in range for the field goal attempt. With the victory, the Seahawks are 3-1. The Cardinals dropped to 2-2. In college football, East Carolina thumped Army 28-6. Pirates quarterback Caton Hauser threw for 251 yards and 2 touchdowns on the night. ECU also rushed for 180 yards and 2 touchdowns as a team. ECU is now 3-2. Army drops to 1-3. In baseball, the Los Angeles Dodgers shut out the Arizona Diamondbacks yesterday 8-0 to clinch the National League West title. Shohei Ohtani hit home run number 54 on the season. It's the Dodgers' 12th division title in the last 13 years. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
All right. And the Tigers, Brock, the Tigers.
Yeah, I didn't have time to get it in that particular sportscast, but yes, they won.
Yeah,
Broke an
they won.
8-game losing streak. So they're now tied with Cleveland for the American League Central lead. They're in the last wild card spot right now, and they trail Boston by one game for the second wild card spot, which would be like the number 5 seed in the American League playoffs. And the Tigers are at Boston this weekend, tonight, tomorrow afternoon, Sunday afternoon. So a lot to play for still.
All right, so 3 games to go. We're all down to this. All right, fair enough.
This is it, literally. We say that all the time, but no, this is it.
It got exciting. All right, Brock, thank you for that. This part of the program brought to you by my good friends at PuroVet. It's part of PuroClean. PuroClean is a great remediation company. I know because after my big fire at the rental house, well, they've been there every step of the way. They have been absolutely great helping us clean that place up. So we're proud of that. And we're proud to say they've got PuroVet, which means they put veterans at the front of the line trying to get them into business and into their own company. PuroVet.com, PuroVet.com, or 855-PuroVet. Find out more. If you're a veteran and know somebody who is, a chance to be in business. There you go. More of Free Speech, Free for All Friday after the break, 877-310-9966. If you want to chime in, by God, do it. We'll be right back. always something to make you look around and say, hey, you know what? I live in a pretty great country. President Trump is calm, on point, on his game. And unlike the last guy, he is competent and coherent. Come on, man. We're not bending the knee anymore. We're here to take a stand for God and country.
This is the Steve Gruber Show.
Yeah, it sure is on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by Patriot Mobile 877-310-9966. Three big things this hour. Number one, Kash Patel says the FBI has found a high degree of pre-attack planning in that ICE attack in Dallas, Texas. Number two, Charlie Kirk's accused assassin encountered police as he was trying to circle back about 6 hours after the murder, attempting to pick up his rifle. And number three, it is Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Free Speech, Free for All Friday. It is. And you can call me, 877-310-9966. That is the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. You're invited to join anytime you want. And part of what I wanted to talk about today are all these conspiracy theories. I mean, can we stop? Can we stop? All the speculation, and it's gotten wacky. Yeah, if you heard me earlier, I read the email I got from a listener who said, Charlie Kirk's murder was faked. It's not real. I'm like, wow. Because it looked really real to me. And the 200,000 people that show up in Phoenix, they thought it was real. And the millions of people around the world that watched it thought it was real. But, the kookiness knows no bounds. And speaking of kooky, all right, Candace Owen, what has happened here? She thinks that she's entitled to all the police information during the investigation. And if she doesn't get the information, well, then it's a conspiracy and it involves Turning Point USA. I mean, that's what I hear. Maybe I'm wrong. Anthony he kind of defended her a little bit, but listen to this.
Turning Point will not release the footage, okay? I don't understand it. Every excuse that I have been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards, that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it? Think about that. It's just in your own capacity. If somebody is saying you are guilty of anything, if they're like, Candace, you are absolutely guilty of breaking into my car, and I'm like, I have a camera right here that shows that I did not break into your car. Would it make sense if I was like, but I'm not going to release that? I'm not going to release that. Because it's not right. It's not right for me to release. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would not release this. The idea that it's because, well, the feds are saying the feds cannot arrest you. Last I checked, the feds cannot bring charges against you for releasing footage that you own. And since when do we trust the feds? Certainly Charlie didn't. He didn't believe we were getting the truth about the Epstein files and things of that nature. So I don't accept that.
So if she doesn't accept it, I mean, come on. If people are making crazy accusations about removing SD cards, and maybe they removed the SD cards, if that's actually what was happening, so that the footage was available to the police and not available to the general public to go to some of these snuff websites and nonsense, right? Now, that'd be more. So maybe if you have crazy allegations, and Anthony, your thoughts here are important, but if people are making crazy allegations, why would you don't have to disprove that. You don't have to prove anything. That's nuts. I'm not going to talk about it. We're not going to give you footage of Charlie being killed. You've seen enough of that footage already. Why do you need 3 different angles? Right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on one hand, as a journalist, maybe with her being a journalist, I understand somebody wanting to see it. But on the other hand, I don't know that.
If your spouse was murdered, Anthony.
Say again.
If your spouse was murdered, would you want to just, here's a copy of it for you and a copy of it for you and a copy? mean, seriously?
Yeah.
I think she's, I think she's off.
And I mean, I think some of the points she's brought up, I'll agree with, but I'm not sitting here saying I'm taking her word as gospel through.
Right. I don't take her word as anything anymore. I feel like she's gone. I don't know where she's gone.
But some of her points I do think raise valid concerns.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, that's fine. Anyhow, so what do you guys think? Real or not? You can send me an email if you want to weigh in that way, or you can call 877-310-9966, and Brock will get you on the show. So Tyler Robinson, the 22-year-old accused assassin of Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk at the Utah Valley University earlier this month, made contact with a police officer near where investigators recovered the murder weapon around 6:30 at night. So, 6 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, I guess, 6 hours after the attack that happened at 12:23, 12:24, around 6:30. He was engaging the audience during that speaking event in Utah when he was murdered. An officer was guarding the perimeter after authorities placed the campus on lockdown. The encounter appears to have stopped the suspect from recovering the Mauser .30-06 rifle prosecutors say was used to kill Kirk. Prosecutors released excerpts of a text message conversation Robinson had with his lover and roommate Lance Twiggs, right? It occurred at an unspecified time in September. That's something else that's odd. Why do we not have the times? I will give her that. Why do we not have the times on the text messaging? I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Was one of the things that he said. But stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long. Anyhow. So they say that they had an interaction here. There's a squad car parked here. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. Well, you're not bringing back Grandpa's rifle. Sad but true. Sad but true. While corrupt elites got rich off crypto, hardworking American patriots are left behind, but not anymore. Block Trust IRA is changing that, bringing the crypto opportunity to real Americans just like you. With crypto fueling President Trump's America First economic miracle, now is your chance to join the movement. The Randomous AI trading platform runs 24/7, crushing old school strategies and helping patriots like you build serious wealth just like the elites. It's been named the #1 crypto tech platform by Bitcoin Magazine. Block Trust IRA offers up to $200 million in protection, and their clients are seeing returns over 250%. Whether you're a teacher, trucker, retiree, or small business owner, this is your time. Get up to $2,500 in bonus crypto when you sign up now. $2,500 in bonus crypto. All you have to do, go to SteveGruberCrypto.com. SteveGruberCrypto.com. Look, I've got crypto now. It's been up and down, like they always are. Gold, been up and up. Maybe I should have bought more gold and less crypto. I don't know. Look, we all do our best around here. I'll take a break. When we come back, I've got a state representative from Tennessee to weigh in on this mob assault on some journalists there. Don't know if you saw the video, but you probably saw the video of these two guys here just a couple of days ago at Tennessee State University. Historical Black College and University, HBCU, right? They go on campus to have some conversations. They're wearing red hats. They get one question in from a student. Next thing you know, the mob rules. They're being, basically pushed, harassed. The police had to intervene. They're escorted off campus. It's embarrassing. Universities, whether HBCUs or anything else for that matter, are supposed to be places where you can have a real dialogue, a real conversation, a real effort at exchanging ideas, but it didn't happen. It doesn't happen a lot. Jody Barrett is a state representative representing House District 69 in the great state of Tennessee. He's here with me now. Jody, thank you for taking the time.
Good morning. How are you, Steve?
You're also a candidate for Tennessee 7, I understand, so you're running for Congress. But look, man, aren't we supposed... I mean, Charlie Kirk got shot in the throat because he wanted to have a conversation with people. And people didn't agree with him, and the radical leftists gunned him down. We've seen too much of this. It's got to end, and yet Tennessee State should have intervened here and said, you know what, we have an exchange of ideas here. Every university in America should be a place where you could exchange ideas aggressively, verbally, loudly, but not violently. Your thoughts?
No, I agree 100%. And, we've seen this boiling over now for several years, going back to Riley Gaines going on the campuses trying to talk about men competing in girls' sports and getting actually violently run off of campuses out west. And so here at TSU, this was a very unfortunate scene. And I think the thing that was most disappointing to me was the response from the university. The statement that they put out was very disingenuous. There's a time and a place for all of this. And as you said, on a college campus, we ought to be able to talk about ideas openly and honestly. And if you watch the video that these two guys put out, it started that way. There was, the first half of the video, there was a gentleman there talking to them, asking questions. They were going back and forth. And then as the crowd started to gather, it just started to get out of control.
Yeah. The time and the place for an argument, for a conversation, is 24 hours a day on a college campus. That's what you're there to do, to learn, to reinforce your ideas, to have a back and forth, not to plug your ears and jump up and down and act like a 5-year-old and say, we're not going to listen to you. And if you are going to say those things, we're going to attack you. I mean, but we see these things happen, and not Tennessee State for this, but segregated graduations. I mean, I realize the number of kids, the number of white kids at TSU are like 10 or 11%. And so what? There's white kids on that campus too, right?
No, there's actually minorities of all shapes and sizes on that campus. It's changed quite a bit over the last couple of years. And here at the state level, what we've done, we've actually just replaced the entire board for TSU because it has been poorly managed. We had to remove the president. And so I think they're moving in the right direction. This is hopefully a speed bump in them going back to, the right principles, the free speech that we all want to see happen on college campuses. Hopefully this is a learning experience for the new board and the interim president that they have right now.
Yeah. I cannot see any justification. I don't know what the board is thinking when they put out such comments. I just can't support that, Jody. All right, so let me... and screaming black power in their face is also an odd thing to do, I think. As you see this violence across the country, this whole idea that the majority of the violence comes from the right is complete garbage and nonsense. They need to stop saying that. We can see Charlie Kirk get assassinated. We can see President Trump coming very close to being assassinated. We can see members of Congress shot up at a baseball game. We can see I can go right down the list, one after another. And yet the left will sit there and lie disingenuously and say, well, majority of violence comes from the right. Where? Which Democrat speaker got assassinated in the last few weeks? Which presidential candidate for the Democrats got shot in the last year? Where is this violence?
Well, as you know, Steve, the mainstream media likes to take one incident. If there's any incident where a shooter or the violent criminal is from the right side of the aisle, they're going to blow it all out of proportion. And of course, they damper anything that might make them look bad or their side look bad. And so that's what's got us to this point. And I think the silent majority is eventually slowly starting to wake up to this. Charlie Kirk's assassination was an awakening. And I think it's going to have the opposite effect of what maybe some on the left had hoped for.
Right. All right, so tell me about this special election that's coming up. Tennessee 7, who's in the race?
Well, we've got a primary coming up on October 7th. There are 11 Republicans in the primary, 4 Democrats and 5 independents. So right now we're doing pretty good. I feel pretty good about our chances. We're in early voting and just trying to get people out to the polls, make sure they show up to vote.
All right. Well, I appreciate you being here, Jody. I do. And hopefully we can get some more conversation and less violence. More talking, less violence. That's what I'd hope for. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There you have it. And best wishes here in 12 days. There you go. October 7th coming up quick. 11 Republicans. It's a horse race. It's a field. You don't have to get a large portion of the vote to win something like that, now do you? And the answer is no, you don't. This part of the program brought to you by the Wellness Company. The Wellness Company has the best spike protein supplement you can get. It's the gold standard. The best parasite cleanse. It is the gold standard. And these kits right here, let me just show you one of these right here. These emergency kits are the best there are from the Wellness Company. I mean, I'm just telling you, it's the best there are. If you don't have one of these emergency kits that has, all sorts of medications, antibiotics, antiparasitics, they're all here for you. They're all here for you, and a book to tell you how it works. In case you have a blizzard, an earthquake, a hurricane, all things that don't happen in Michigan, by the way, but this is the best kit you can have. If you get cut off for any reason, you need these. And there's several more to choose from. You've got a first aid kit, you've got a travel kit, a kit for kids, and everything else. Go to twc.health/Gruber. twc.health/Gruber. Get one of these emergency kits in your home immediately. I'll be right back. All right, free speech, free for all Friday. Let's go back to the phone lines. Judy is checking in from the great city of Lansing, Michigan. I've been there a few times. Judy, how are you?
Hi, fine. I'll try to make this quick, but with all this other stuff going on with Charlie Kirk and all that, they're trying to, with our election here in Michigan coming up for the midterms, they're trying to push through that ranked choice voting.
Terrible thing.
And what I find interesting is that the Harvard Kennedy School Ash Center for Democratic Governance and Innovation, Nolan McCarthy, did this research, and he's finding that it causes voter exhaustion, confusion, and especially in disadvantaged minority communities. And because it's very complicated, it's not easy, and they're touting, the positives of it, but they're not really explaining that the biggest thing is voter exhaustion. It's just too complicated. And also at Ballotpedia, they show a map of the states that have it or are going to be having it, and they're all Democrat.
There's almost no states that have ranked choice voting. They did it in Alaska. They tried to get rid of it last time around. They missed by a couple of votes. They will get rid of ranked choice voting in Alaska in 2026. I can assure you that.
Well,
nobody that has it wants it.
That it disadvantaged. They're finding in Alaska that it did disadvantage the the native people
That's
there
right.
because it was just too complicated.
Right.
So at the other states that they're saying that it's in 2026 and 2027 and in the future it's coming in, they're all blue states that want to have it. And
because they can
Michigan
rig the elections that way. It's another way to rig the.
Yeah.
They say they want democracy. They don't. They
No,
gerrymander
it's just another-
California to the point that there's no Republican representatives in several states at all, and then they scream about democracy. Judy, it's
Yeah.
fun. I'll give last word to you real quick.
Well, I'm just saying people need to be aware of this, not to be sidetracked. I mean, the Charlie Kirk situation is very serious and
Horrible.
important.
Right.
But I think they're going to be using it to distract us from really digging in and to understand what is ranked choice voting, and it's not that great.
No, it's not great. It's terrible. It's not what you want at all, because that way, what happens is people that could never get elected end up getting elected. That's how Alaska ended up with a Democrat member of Congress. Would never have happened otherwise. It got fixed this last time around, but we'll fix it. Judy, thank you for the phone call. Free speech, free for all Friday. More after this. All right, here we go back into it. It's a busy Friday here. as we get through, so much to talk about because of so many things that have been happening lately. Ranked choice voting, look, that's a terrible idea. And I'm glad she brought that up. Look into it. Do not support it. Do not sign the petition. And if it gets onto the ballot, which it probably will, make sure you sign. You vote against it is what I want to say. You vote against it. So thank you, Judy, for bringing that to our attention. Meanwhile, from the most powerful voice for business in Michigan, it's the Michigan Chamber Business Brief. Randy Gross is joining me, Senior Director of Legislative Affairs and the Associate General Counsel. Randy, thank you for being here.
Morning, Steve. Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's talk about the budget. Where are we on it? I think we didn't we make a deal? Did I hear we made a deal?
They made a deal last night and started moving some of the budget implementation pieces. We're hearing they plan to have a final budget voted out before the October 1st deadline.
And what's the total? What's the bottom line number roughly? Do you know?
I think roughly it's about 82 billion, maybe 81 billion.
So $30 billion more than Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
30
billion more than 7 years ago.
Yeah, 30 billion more than 7 years ago, and 30 billion more than Pennsylvania today.
Correct.
What do we do with our $30 billion? Because the roads sure are nice around here. Infrastructure is great. Business is just flocking to come to Michigan. They're just lined up at the door, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I know that was one of the goals of the Speaker of the House was to kind of dig through and figure out where this money is being spent. You know, we've been advocating for fiscal restraint for years now. Clearly, that message has fallen on deaf ears a number of times. But it's a great question. I do know that part of the budget deal did include some funding for the roads. They're making some shift payments at the pumps to ensure all the revenue raised at the gas pump is going towards the roads now. But no, it's a great question, Steve. I can't tell you what we do with that extra $30 billion.
All right. So anything you like here? Anything you don't like? I mean, probably plenty not to like.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, I'll start with the positives, right? It's great that they came together. They compromised. They averted a shutdown. We want to ensure that services are available to the citizens of Michigan. Those are good things. They're looking at prioritizing some aspects that employers have utilized in the past as far as like retraining of employees. So those are positive things. And we have some dedicated funding for roads going forward. So those are all positives. But look, I mean, on the negative side of this, I have to be honest, we were really disappointed. There's a piece in there that's called decoupling, which deals with the federal tax reforms that recently happened in July from the president and the big, beautiful bill. And that would have been resulted in a savings of roughly $500 to $600 million in taxes for Michigan businesses of all sizes. And part of the deal that they came up with between the governor and the legislature was basically to sever from those benefits and make Michigan kind of suffer under an old regime where we're not going to see the same benefits at the state level that others are going to see when they do their taxes.
It's remarkable, isn't it? I mean, did we accomplish anything?
Well, they got a budget signed.
Okay. Did we accomplish any? I mean, look, I think Michigan was the only state in America last year that raised taxes, income taxes. New Hampshire joined, I think, became state number 9 with no income tax, if I'm not mistaken. I see people flocking to places like Tennessee. Why? No income tax. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, do we not do it? When I was born, Michigan was the top 5 state income-wise. We were one of the wealthy states. Now we're in the bottom grouping. Not bottom 5 yet, but we're on our way. We're working hard to get there. It's pretty embarrassing, actually. I mean, how do we do better?
Well, look, it's about business climate and actions like we took last night to move away from federal reforms that were designed to incentivize manufacturing, incentivize R&D. When we take actions like that doesn't help the business climate, right? Businesses look at tax rates, look at regulatory structures, they look at predictability, and unfortunately, you know, I can't say that we excel at any of that right now. I would love to, but you know, this is a big issue for our members. And to be clear here, Steve, there's been a lot of talk that, well, this is a temporary shift. You know, we don't see it that way. This was done under Governor Granholm for a tax incentive tax reform in the early 2000s, and it's still in place where now we have this dual bookkeeping, one books for your federal tax returns, one book for your state tax returns. You're gonna, if you're a small business now, you got to pay more in compliance fees and to CPAs as opposed to investing that money within your business and community and employees.
Yeah, we need to invest. I mean, when automobile plants are going to Indiana, and not here, I think it's the Hyundai plant going to Indiana or whatever, right? It's terrible. It's just terrible. Ohio and Indiana are eating our lunch, and pretty soon we won't even be able to afford lunch. It's frustrating to me because there are good intentions, and I realize they need to get it done because if not, maybe the outcome is worse. But this is as my grandfather used to say, this is no way to run the railroad.
Right.
Well, so how do we break free of these chains? Honestly,
I think it's education. We got to keep the message going and really show people, this is the results, and if they don't believe it over the trend, I mean, you can look over the last 20 years, right, Steve? You're hitting on this. We're losing out on these aspects, and we have to reach out and educate better on this and make people understand that business climate is important to a successful state. That helps us for obviously the work piece, but the play piece of it too. You want people to be here. We want an in-growth of population, not an an exodus of population, which is what's been happening. And we have to have more business-friendly policies moving forward, and not look at doing things like severing from tax policies that are looking to incentivize, quite frankly, some of the bread and butter of our state, right? Manufacturing is in the DNA a little bit of Michigan. We're the auto state. We started this, and we're now allowing others to have better incentives and better tax structures for that aspect of the economy.
Yeah, and we'll have it. When I mentioned New Hampshire, you'll have a good case study in front of us all again, because Maine and Vermont have pretty significant income taxes. New Hampshire now has none. What do you think the reaction is going to be from people that live on the borders and can get into New Hampshire? I know what the reaction is going to be. People are going to change their address.
Right.
And be in New Hampshire.
Look at Florida.
Exactly. Look at Tennessee.
Moving into it. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I got a friend
unique,
of mine.
Right?
A friend of mine moved from Michigan to Florida in his business. Said it saved him $50,000 first year.
Yeah.
$50,000 saved year one. Randy, really appreciate you being here. It's frustrating. I feel like we continue to pound our heads against the wall. Those of us that would like to see
keep
business
doing the
come
work.
here. Yeah, keep doing the work.
We'll
I mean, I don't mean to be Debbie Downer here.
Yeah, and look, there's a lot of great things in Michigan, and we're going to keep promoting that, and we're gonna keep advocating for businesses to be here and for businesses to be strong and grow, and we appreciate the support out there.
Amen. Yeah, I'll be in northern Michigan looking at the fall colors. It's a great place, especially this time of the year. Michigan's wonderful.
It is.
We just have to change the business climate. Randy, thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Have a
Really
great morning.
Appreciate it. All right. When I come back, Ivy's going to be here. So all your dreams will be fulfilled. Mine too. So there you go. Ivy's up next. It's Ivy Watch here on a Free for All Friday. All right, free speech, free for all Friday. Ivy is here. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, we got a call here. Let me guess. We're going to axe the Michigan tax. Tom is in Rives Junction. Tom, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you very much, Steve. I appreciate it. You made a comment about how do we make the Michigan economy boom again, and you hit the nail right on the head. Eliminate property taxes for Michigan. Number one, all residents will have more money in their pocket to spend. Houses will sell like wildfire, which is right now slowing down to a snail's pace. Young people can afford a house, and old people can afford to stay in their house. So as far as, in my opinion, I think that's one great way. Now, there's a lot of challenges that go with it, but I think that's the first place to start.
I think it's a good idea. Axe Michigan tax, Axe MI tax, I think is the way it is online. But I also think eliminating the income tax. Go ahead, Axe.
Yeah, AXMI.
TAX.
AXMI for Michigan tax.org. Anyone wants to volunteer, they're getting petition signatures from registered voters in Michigan. They need to get about 500,000 signatures. We've got another month till the end of October to do that, and we're coming on the home stretch. So pick up the computer today, get out there, try to get a signature on the petition so that we can get this on the ballot for November 26th to have an up or down vote. So it doesn't matter who's in the governor's seat to
Agreed.
Veto it or anything like that. It'll be just like marijuana was, up or down.
All right. Tom, thank you. Appreciate it. Axe MI tax. Axe MITAX. And you can find it. Ivy, what's on your mind?
Is it something that can be put on, and receiving the signatures, that's to put on the ballot, and then
we would vote on it next year.
It would be a ballot initiative.
Correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, that seems smart to me.
Yeah. I mean, anytime we can chop taxes, it's, that's one way. I just had Randy Gross on from the chamber. One way you can make government smaller is starve it of cash dollars. Really, I'm serious. Starve government of cash.
Yeah.
I mean, how is it they can run Pennsylvania $30 billion
even if you
less?
Starve them with not giving them any cash, don't they just go further into debt because they don't change their spending?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's frustrating, again, when I see Pennsylvania can run their state for $30 billion less. It's a bigger state, more people, better roads. It's horrible. It's just frustrating. That's all.
So I sent you something earlier. I don't know if you actually were able to see it or not, but, I think about often, all the time, Erica Kirk's speech.
Yeah.
And did you see Tim Allen's post on X?
I did, but you can share.
Yeah, I have struggled for over 60 years to forgive the man who killed my dad. And this happened, I think, when he was a young kid. I think, if memory serves, like 11.
Yeah, he's 11 years old. I think that's right.
I will say those words now as I type. I forgive the man who killed my father. Peace be with you all. And he commented in an interview that he was just so moved by Erica Kirk forgiving, Charlie Kirk's shooter, that it just moved him to, just suddenly feel like, you know what? Man, there's power and peace and, throwing it at the foot of the
forgiveness.
cross. And it takes off the weight of you carrying that
That's right.
weight of something like that happening. So I thought that was pretty interesting and pretty cool.
I agree with you completely. 60 years of lugging that around.
60 years, yeah. And did you also see 1 in 5 Americans now are regularly getting their news on TikTok, which is a little frightening.
How many?
1 in 5. This is a Pew Research Center study. And I know TikTok increasingly a place for news, so I'm looking here, 18 to 23.
I mean, what could possibly be wrong with the Chinese controlling your news source?
Right, exactly. Which is why Trump is really pushing on, either having a collaboration with the United States or
and what do the idiots on the left say? Oh, we can't have these billionaires in charge of TikTok. Right, because it's better to have the Chinese Communist Party in charge of TikTok.
Right.
I'm sorry. Do you have a closed head injury? Come on.
Well, logic isn't their strong suit generally. Ages 30 to 49, like 25%. 50 to 64 is a lot less, but young people are getting their news there. So maybe it's important we, I know we actually just dumped off of TikTok because we kind of go back and forth in terms of how we feel about it. But I think maybe it's important to be there.
By the way, I just had somebody ask me, hey, are you telling people to make sure they get their hunting licenses before October 1st because there's the shutdown? No shutdown. They got the budget deal last night. So don't worry about your hunting license before October 1st. You're good. Just helping people out, making sure people are aware. Did you see this thing in Dearborn? This thing in Dearborn really irritates me. That the mosques are running these, call to prayer super loud on giant loudspeakers at 5 a.m. in violation of local ordinances, and the people there they've been going to the city council meeting saying, hey, you can't do this. And the city council's like, eh.
Yeah.
They don't care because it's a Muslim city council, and so they're allowing it to happen in violation. I think these people have to file a lawsuit against the city.
Yeah, and you have to probably have somebody has to have the courage to do that, and then many of the other citizens, non-Muslim citizens, probably need to stand up and say, hey, this is getting a little bit out of control.
Yeah, well,
so
apparently nobody has the courage to do that yet, but they should. You can't have this thing blasting at 5 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
And guess we go from there.
Yeah.
So.
Do I have time for one more?
You got 20 seconds, 30.
Did you see that the FBI had 274 plainclothed agents embedded in the January 6th crowds?
How many?
274.
And what were these agents?
FBI.
Of course they were. Did you see that James Comey, the former FBI director, has been indicted? And
I have.
He'll be
of course,
facing
it's like everyone's like, retribution, Trump.
Oh, whatever. It's called a grand jury. And then, you know what?
Can we rewind and...
Maybe he'll be acquitted. Go to trial. We'll find out.
Exactly.
Ivy, love you.
Love you.
All right, we'll take a break and be right back. All right, so the worst person in the world today is, let me see, her name is Shelby Campbell, a 31-year-old Democrat running to replace Sri Tenadar in Michigan's 13th Congressional District in Wayne County. She put out a video on TikTok laughing about, let me know if, laughing about Charlie Kirk's assassination, saying basically, Jimmy Kimmel's back. Hey, MAGA, how bad does it hurt that Jimmy Kimmel's back, but you guys can't get your person back? And they start laughing, obviously. Campbell's video comparing the suspension and subsequent reinstatement of Jimmy Kimmel after lying about Kirk's assassination and claiming he was MAGA. By the time Kimmel made those remarks on the air, law enforcement had already established that Kirk's 22-year-old killer hated conservatives, was living with a gender-confused man who dressed up as animals and also known as a furry. Again, let me know if you want to go live and have a conversation to see how mentally unstable I am, she said. Whatever. Her campaign says about community over corporations, compassion over cruelty, and people over profit. Obviously not true. Obviously not true. So there you go. These people, I mean, they celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's what they do. Be sure to support the people that support this program, all of them. Patriot Mobile brings you Free for All Friday. If you're not with Patriot Mobile, who are you with? You can do better. Trust me. We have great service with Patriot Mobile. Had them for years now. Love them. You should as well. All the people that make it possible to be here every week. We're going to take a couple of days off. We're going to go see the fall colors, my friend. I suggest you do the same. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. It's the Steve Gruber Show. Remember to work harder and be better. Work harder. Be better. I'll be right back.